So Kadosh Chodesh Tov Ketov Masechet Yoma Daf Samech Aleph Amud Aleph 61A1. Okay, the Gemara said, we just mentioned yesterday that we were not talking about the avodah of the ketoret, and therefore, right, and to do with the tikkun and everything about fixing it, but only with the avodot of the par v'said. But for sure, if it was spilled the blood of the par in the middle of the matanot on the inside, right, on the inside of the hechal, so the same halacha would apply, that they would have to do again chafina, and they would have to bring laktira to ketoret after doing the shchita of the par hasheni. Okay. Amar Ula. Ula says, the first line, Samech Aleph Amud Aleph. The first line says, Amar Ula. Ula says, Sa'id shechechato kodem matan damo shel hapad. Imagine you have the Sa'id that they did the shechita before sprinkling of the blood of the pad on the Kodesh HaKodashim. Lo asa velo kelum. He didn't do anything. It was like the guy didn't do anything. Okay? Why? Because he switched the order. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Higdim dama sa'id le dama par. If you first did the dama sa'id before the dama par, yachzor v'yazeh mi dama sa'id achar dama par. So you have to sprinkle again the dama sa'id after the dama par. Now, v'im'ita, now if you're going to tell me that the words of Ula are correct, that even the shechita of the sa'id is going to be pasul if they did it before the sprinkling of the dama par, right? So it says here, yachzor v'yishchot mi baile. It didn't just be that yachzor v'yazeh, yachzor v'yishchot. They should do the shechita again. That's what they should do. So answers the Gemara. Tirgama Ula. Ula comes and he translated it to mean b'matanot shebaechal. We're not talking about the matanot in the Kodesh HaKodashim. We're talking about the matanot of the echal. Remember, whenever it says matanot, we're talking about the sprinkling of the blood. Matana achad me'akevet, right? Matana achad she'te matanot. All these things. Matanot are the presence of the sprinkling of the blood. Now, when it says matanot shebayechal, remember, here on Kippur, the matanot were done in the Kodesh HaKodashim, whether it's on the kaporet, meaning on the aron, or right before it. Right, but that was a machloket. It was by the parochet, whether on the parochet or right before. But again, that's already in the echal. By the Kodesh HaKodashim, there was a parochet separating. And then on the mizbach hadahav, on the golden mizbeach, also the same thing. So 3 different matanot. 1 in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and 2 in the hechal. So here it says we're talking about the matanot of the hechal, which means that after you already did the zaot, the sprinkling of the Kodesh HaKodashim in the proper way, you got to the hechal and you went and you did the other way around. That's what also Rabbi Yafes said. The matanot sheba'echal. Okay, nekuda. Okay, fine. Now we're by the 2 dots. The 2 dots said, we're going back to the Mishnah, where the Mishnah says that all of the siddarim, all of this order of sprinkling in the Kodesh HaKodashim is considered an avodah b'fnei atzma, because it's like a kapara b'fnei atzma, so it's an avodah b'fnei atzma. Lechem ba'echal, the same halacha will apply in the echal. Each one is considered an avodah b'fnei atzma, and also the mizbeach hazahav. It's also considered, so it's like 3 different avodot. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita, v'chiper and migdash hakodesh. When it says the Kohen Gadol is going to be mechaper and migdash hakodesh, what is migdash hakodesh? What does it sound like? Kodesh hakodashim. So zeh lifnai v'lifnim. This is the one which is inside of the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the inside. Okay? Oil Moed, right? Ze Echal. When it says Oil Moed, that's the Echal. Okay? Which is inside of the Echal. The Echal is a big room, right? Where the Kodesh HaKodashim is found. When it says Mizbeach, Kamashmo, Mizbeach is a Mizbeach. Makes sense. Okay? Yechaper, Elu Azarot. These are the Azarot, right? Which is basically, it's coming to teach you that the blood is going to be mechaper also in the tumah that happened in the azarot. Amen. Okay, remember the azarot. You have whether it's azarat rashim, azarat Israel, and azarat kohanim. Okay, you have the kohanim area, the Israel area, which are men, and then azarat rashim, where even women could be. Okay, hakohanim kimashman. When it says in the pasuk, so again, you have to take the pasuk. The chiper mikdash hakodesh, hakodesh kodashim. Et ol moed, that's the echal. Et mizbeach is a mizbeach. Now it says yechaper ala kohanim ve'al kolam ha'kahal yechaper. So kohanim kimashman, am ha'kahal elu Yisrael, yechaper elu ha'levim. So you have the 3 different places, which is basically the Kodesh HaKodashim, the echal, and the azarot, and then you have the 3 different sects: kohanim, Israelim, and Levim. Chushvu kulan lechapara achat. All of them have the same hekesh, the same juxtaposition, which is proximity, that they were written close to each other. for kapara. Shekulam mitkaprim b'seir mishleach. Everybody, all of them, have a kapara with a seir mishleach. When they come and they take the seir and they throw it off the cliff, and they say hasta la vista, yeah, to the seir that he goes flying down until he starts breaking into a whole bunch of pieces. So what is it? We say that it's going to be a kapara for all of them, an atonement for all of them. Ishar averot, right? And it's going to be mechaper on all other types of averot except for tumat mikdash v'kodashav. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda, which means if a person came in to the Bet HaMikdash when he was tameh, this does not help for this atonement. Okay? Rabbi Shimon argues and he says, Keshem shedam hasayid nasa bifnim mechaper al Yisrael betumah mikdash v'kodashav, just like the dam hasayid, which is done on the inside, is going to be an atonement to do with tumah mikdash v'kodashav, right? Even with the vidui, kach dam mechaper al kohanim. So to the dam apad is going to be mechaper on the kohanim betumah mikdash v'kodashav without vidui, and just like the vidui of the sayyid mishleach is mechaper on all Yisrael with other averot, except for this avera of coming into the Bet HaMikdash when you're tameh. Okay, kach vidui shel par mechaper al kohanim v'shaverot. So too the vidui of the par is going to be mechaper on the kohanim on other averot, except for the mikdash tumah mikdash v'kodashav. So one more time. The sa'id, which is done on the inside, the avodah of the sa'id, which is done on the inside, is a kapara on Israel, on Tumah Mikdash v'Kodashav. So to the dama par, right? The dama par, which is done on the inside, is going to be mechaper on the kohanim, Tumah Mikdash v'Kodashav. Now, the vidui of the sa'id HaMishtaleach is a kapara on Israel on other averot, not on the avera of coming inside when you're tameh. So to the vidui of the par, is going to be mechaper on the kohanim with averot and not on the avera of coming inside the Bet HaMikdash when you're going to be tameh. Until you're clear? So there's viduis and then there's the korbanot. The vidui is going to be atoning for other averot. So therefore, just like the vidui of the Seir Meshalech is all Yisrael, vidui of the par is on the kohanim, and then you have the actual korban. So just like the korban bli vidui, korban, the korban of the Sa'id is going to atone for Israel with tumat mikdash v'kodashav. Meaning, if chas v'shalom I was tameh and I go into the Bet HaMikdash, so that's called tumat mikdash v'kodashav. I was over, I brought in tum'ah into the holy place, and therefore it's chiv karet. It's a lot of things. You understand? So therefore, in that case, the Seir HaMishalech is going to atone for Israel. So to the pot is going to atone for the kohen. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a right. V'chila mikaperet hakodesh ze lifnei v'lifnim. We already just said. When it's going to atone for the kodesh, that's the family theme, because it said in the pasuk, "V'chila mikaperet hakodesh," so that's kodesh kodashim. Oel moed is zaychal, mizbeach is kamashmao. So therefore, the three different terminologies in the Torah. So a kodesh means the kodesh kodashim. Oel moed means zaychal, and the mizbeach is kamashmao, the mizbeach. Melamed shekulan kapara bifnei atzman. So it teaches us that each one of them is a separate kapara in itself. Mikan, so from here we see miksat matanot shebifnim, that if the Kohen Gadol only did a little bit of the matanot on the inside, which is in the Kodesh HaKodashim, then nishpach adam, and then it spilled the blood. Yavid amacher v'yatchil betchila matanot shebifnim. You have to bring another blood and start from the beginning. Okay, why? Because the beginning part became pasul, so you have to start again. Yeah, you have to start the entire process. Rabbi Shimon say, you don't have to start again. You start from where you finished off. You remember we had this exact same machlok we said yesterday to do with Amidah. Imagine a person right now, whether he forgot where he was in Amidah. Does he start from the beginning of Amidah? Or does he start from where he left off? Right? So halakha l'mat say he starts where he left off, unless he took too long, and then he would have to start from the beginning. Okay? Now says the Gemara, Gamar et matanot shebifnim. What happens if we finish the matanot which are inside the Kodesh Kodashim, and then nishpach adam, and then it spilled the blood? You have to bring another, right? You have to bring another blood, and then you're going to start the matanot of the echal, which means here, since you finished 100% the matanot in the Kodesh Kodashim, you finish that phase. So now when you have to bring new blood, you start in the echal. The first case is that you were in the middle of the matanot in the Kodesh Kodashim. So if you're in the middle, you have to start again. Okay? If you're in the middle, you have to start again. But if you completely finish the matanot in the Kodesh Kodashim, and then it spilled the blood, now you start from the echal, because you finish the first phase. Yeah? That's like what we learned to do with the Gilgulim, you remember? On the night of Shavuot. What do we say? We said that if right now a person came and they finished completely their tikkun on their nefesh. So then the second time around, they have to come back to finish the tikkun on the ruach. However, though, if they didn't completely finish the tikkun on the nefesh, they have to start again. Right? Let's say the ruach now. They came to finish the ruach. So if they came and they were in the middle, they have to start again. But if they finish the ruach, the neshama. He said in each one, it's like that. That means basically, if you're in the middle, right, you have to start again. But if you finish that phase, right, that portion, so now you start with the next one. Okay? So now it says, Natan mitzat matanot shebayechal v'nishpach adam. What happens if you only started a little bit of the matanot in the echal and it's spilled? You have to bring dam acher, v'yatchil betchila, start again in the echal. Bilazar v'Shimon again say no. You don't start only from where you left off. So according to the Bilazar v'Shimon, remember, you always start from where you left off. Doesn't matter where you are, in the middle, the end. You always start from where you left off. Okay? Now we continue. Gaman matanot shebayechal. If you finished all the matanot in the echal, which means on the parochet, and yishpach adam, and now it's spilled, you have to bring another blood. But you have to start batechila, right? But where? You start from the beginning of the matanot on the mizbeach. If you started in the middle of the mizbeach, meaning that you started them, and now it's spilled, you have to bring other blood, you have to start again, right? On the mizbeach. Comes again Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, no, mimakom shepasak umatchil. So says the Braita, Gamam matanot, what happens if you finish the ones on the mizbeach, and now it's spilled? Divrei hakol lo me'akev. According to everybody, it's not me'akev. But basically, since you finish all the sprinklings, and now you just have to spill the leftovers, whether it's on the Yisod Ma'aravi or in the Shiraim, in the hole, in the Darom, right? So because of that, so it's okay according to everybody, meaning it's not me'akev according to everybody. So according to everybody, if you spilled after you did all the sprinklings, no pasa nada. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, but if it was in the middle of each one, that's when we said the machloket between. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Ushnehem, also Tanakama, and also Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Mikra Echad Darshu. They learned it from the exact same pasuk. So the exact same pasuk is going to teach you whether you start from where you've left off or you have to start again. Why? It says in the pasuk, V'chiper Aaron al karnotav, Achab Hashana, midam chatat hakipurim. What does it mean, Achab Hashana? So Achab Hashana, Rabbi Meir, Savar Rabbi Meir holds that Achab Hashana means, right, chatat echat. Amarti lecha v'lo shtei chataot. Only one chatat and not two. Which means that I only told you that it could be mechaper one chatat and not two chatat. Here, the fact that you have to bring another chatat in order to get the blood, so now it would be considered two chatat. Because imagine, I'm going to sprinkle part from the first chatat and part from the second chatat. It says one chatat, not for two chatat. Yeah. So he says, right? Rabbi Elazar and Shimon hold no. Chitui echad amarti lecha, right? Velo shne chitui. Hashem tells you that you're going to do one chitui and not two chituim, which means you're only going to do one hazah and not two hazaot. Chitui is in the shon of the hazah. So therefore, according to one of them, he's learning one chatat offering and not two. So now again, let's pause. If you only do one chatat offering and not two, if I'm going to do one chatat offering and I started the sprinkling and then it spilled the blood, what do I have to do? Bring another chatat. I take the blood. Now, if I'm going to come and now I'm going to use that blood and I'm going to continue, it came out that I did two chatat and I can't do two chatat. It's only one chatat. So I have to start from the beginning. And the first one was in vain, levatala. So the second one, I start the entire process, right? That's the shita of Tanakama. According to the next one, they said, no, when it says chatat kipurim, chatat means minashon chitui, sprinkling. It has to be one sprinkling and not two sprinkling. If I already did the first sprinkling with the first chatat, now I can't do another sprinkling with the second chatat because that's two chituim. I only could do one. So therefore, I start from where I finished off. That's the shita of Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon. So Tanya, we learned in the Braita. Rabbi says, Li chilek Rabbi Yaakov belugin. Rabbi Yaakov explained to me the hazaot of Log Hashemin on the Metzorah are different from the hazaot from the Dam Apar and Dam Asayir on Yom Kippurim. So he taught me, right, that only to do the hazaot of Yom Kippurim, there's the machlok between Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Meir, and they held that if it spilled, you have to start again. But if it was a Log Hashemin of the Metzorah, okay, in the middle of that hazaot, so Rabbi Elazar and Shimon are going to agree that you have to start from the beginning. Okay? So now it says, right, as follows. Velo, are you going to tell me, right, that the Chien Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon, they don't argue on Rabbi Meir to do with Log Hashamen shel Mitzorah? Batanya, right, we learned in a Braita, Natan mitzah matanot shebifnim. Imagine right now you're going to put a little bit of the matanot on the inside of the echal milog hashamen. V'nishpach halog, and now all of a sudden it spilled the log. So again, you started a little bit of the matanot inside the echal, and then it spilled. Yavi log acher, you have to bring another log. Yatchil b'techila matanot shebechal, you have to start again from the beginning. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon omeri, imakom shepasak u'matchil. From where you stopped, that's where you continue. So here, what do you see mefurash? That also Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon argue in log hashamin to do the mitzvah. Not only in the case of the Dama Par and Dama Said of Yom Kippur. So Gamar, right? What does the Tanakama finish off by saying? Gamar matanot shebeichal. If he finished the matanot in the eichal, and nishpach halog, and now we're finished, you have to bring another log, and you're going to start from the beginning of matanot shebehonot, the matanot of the bohens. Remember, the bohens are the thumbs, whether it's the thumb of the finger or thumb of the foot. If you already started the beginning of them and then it spilled, you have to bring another one and you start from the beginning of the process. Rabbi Shimon say again, if you finish now the matanot and the ba'onot, that means you finished on the thumbs and now it's spilled, according to everybody, right? Matanot arosh are not me'akev. So says the Gemara, Eima li shina Rabbi Yaakov, right, belugin. So he comes and he says, no. He says, Rabbi Yaakov taught me that the machloket is to do with the log of Shemen and Mitzurah is the exact same like the machloket of Damapara Damasin. Not that it's different, because here we see it's the exact same. So it has to be the exact same. So the same machloket between Rabbi Elazar and Shimon against Rabbi Meir, against Tanakama, which was to do with the Damapara and Damasaid, is the exact same machloket to do with the log of Shaman, which is done on the Mitzurah. Okay? Fine. Amar More says, Matanot arosh, the matanot which they place on the head of the person that's becoming tahor, and me'akvot, it's not going to be me'akev. My tama, what's the reasoning? Ilem, so you're going to tell me because it's written in the pasuk, v'anotam Hashem, and the leftovers of the head, the leftovers of the oil, right? Asher al kafa koiniten rosh hamita, they're going to put it on the head of the mitahed. Ela me'ata v'anoter min mincha hachinami dulo me'akve. When it says v'anoteret nitar, right, which is leftovers, are you going to tell me now that it's not me'akev as well? We know that. What does that mean? We know that it's me'akev. So if it's going to be me'akev, so why is it here that the fact that it says v'anotar, like leftovers is not me'akev? This is why. Here it also says v'anoter min mincha. So answers the Gemara, Shane Hatam, it's different by the Mitzorah, Dechtiv umiyeter ve'anotar, which means the shemen which is put on the head of the Mitzorah is shirai mina shirai. It's like leftovers from the leftovers, and that's why it's not me'akev. But shirai mincha is only one leftovers. So one leftovers is me'akev. But here it's miyeter hashemen ve'anotar, yeter notar, it's like double leftovers. Double leftovers is not me'akev. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, Samech Aleph Amud Bet 61b, right? So 61b says, Asham Metzorah sheshechatol l'shelo lishma. Imagine right now you have an Asham Metzorah. The Metzorah, remember, he has to bring 3 sacrifices. One of the sacrifices was an Asham, a guilt offering. So imagine right now you slaughtered the guilt offering, but it wasn't l'shem korban Asham. It was for another korban. So Banul Machloket, that's actually a Machloket between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Elazar and Shimon. Rabbi Meir comes and he says, you have to bring another sacrifice, and you start from the beginning of the order. Hachanami, so to here, you're going to bring another Asham, and you're going to have to do the slaughtering, and you have to do it like the halacha. But according to Rabbi Elazar and Shimon, that they say, from the place where you finished, that's where you start, and you start from the middle of where you left off. Hacha en lo takana. So here, there's no takana then. Why? Because to do the mitzorah, there's no takana for the mitzorah that he's going to make a kosher and eating kochim. How's the takana? At the end of the day, that's it. He's finished. That's why he's going to start in the middle. So Matkif la Rav Chasta asks Rav Chasta, v'ha oto ktiv. It says v'lakacha kohen kevet zecha v'kriv oto le'asham ve'log hashamen. So it's mashma that you only have to bring the asham, which was together with the log hashamen. And in a case with the was already hunaf log hashamen with asham that was done not properly, even the b'mir is modeh that in such a case there's no takana to become tahor. So what are you only asking against Rabbi Elazar and Shimon? Even according to Rabbi Meir, there's no takana. If there's no takana, kaddish, there's nothing what to do. What do you want? So answers the Gemara. Kasha, you're right. It's a good question. Okay, fine. Tanya kaveted Rabbi Yochanan. We also learned in the Braita according to Rabbi Yochanan. Hasham metzorah shechechato shelo lishmo shelo natan midamo legabe beonot. Imagine right now you have an hasham metzorah. Sorry, that they slaughtered it not lishma, not for that. Right, not for that lishma. That means not for that korban. Or they didn't put the blood on the bohens. Remember, the bohens are the thumbs, the thumb of the finger and the thumb of the foot, right? The thumb of the toe. That's what we say. It's called putting your foot in it. Yeah. So he says, so it's going to go on top of the mizbeach. The taun nesachim, and it needs nesachim, wine libations. The tzarich asham acher lachshilo. You need another asham to be machshireto in order to eat kodshim. So the Lashon of Braita, when it says Sarich Hasham Achel Achshiro, it's mashma that if the Hasham was slaughtered shelo lishma, you just have to bring another Hasham and you'd say Chovah. Right? So therefore, just like Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Yochanan, not like Rav Chasta, that he said everybody agrees that that's it, you can't bring another Hasham. So Rav Chasta is going to tell you, no. What does it mean, sarich? Sarich ve'en lo takana. You need to do it, but it still doesn't help. Sometimes you're obligated to do it, but it doesn't help what you're doing. Meaning sometimes it just happens that a person is obligated to do something, but even if he does it, it doesn't really help him, but he has to do it anyway. Right? Why? It's his obligation. Okay? Fine. So now says the Gemara, yeah, Vetani Tana Tzarich ve'en lo takana. Says 1 second. But why doesn't the Tana just say mefurash Tzarich ve'en lo takana? Meaning, according to Rav Chasta, what did we just say? We said he has to do it, but it doesn't help him. So say that. Say in the Braita, Tzarich lavid shamachet, abal en lo takana. So says the Gemara, yes, it's true. Vatanya, we learned in the Braita, Nazir memorat, what happens to do with a Nazir, that anyway he doesn't have any hair. Imagine the Nazir, he's already kireach, he's already bald. So if the Nazir is already bald, you're not going to shave off his head. There's nothing much to shave off. What are you going to do? Right? So he says, Bet Shammai, only Bet Shammai says, Sarich havarat tad, you still have to do it. Meaning, you have to do it completely, even though there's no hair. You just have to take the razor and start going like this, even though there's nothing there. You have to do it.
That's what we said. How they pass tar on their skin?
First of all, you have to remember that tar is only prohibited in certain places. For example, right? The goy comes and he does the tar on the back. There's no problem.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So here there's no problem. Also, here there's no problem. Where's the problem of tar? Here. But it's a special gzerat hakatuv, so that's what they're doing.
What about here?
They have to do it al kol besaro, on everything. But that's a special gzerat hakatuv. But that's what? No, because you're not a mitzvah. You're not a mitzvah. And by the way, you should know a mitzvah. What? Yeah, only the mitzvah. Only the mitzvah. Yeah, only mitzvah. Okay.
The rest of the body, no.
Which one?
The rest of the body.
Betilel argue and they say, that means basically if he doesn't have any hair, what are you going to start taking the tar, right? This razor, what are you going to start putting on his head? There's nothing there. Says so comes Rabbi Yavina and he says, when Bet Shammai come and they say, you have to do it, it means that he has to do it, but really, there's no takana. So you see from here that the word sometimes tzarich could mean that you have to do it, but it still doesn't help. Upliga de Rabbi Padat, and this argues on Rabbi Padat. Tamar Rabbi Padat, it says Rabbi Padat, Bet Shammai and Rabbi Lazar amru davar echad. Bet Shammai and Rabbi Lazar both said the same thing. Bet Shammai was what we just mentioned now. Rabbi Lazar, the Tanam we learned in the Mishnah. Im en lo bo en yad bo en regel. What happens if a person doesn't have the thumb? He doesn't have a thumb on the hand, or he doesn't have the thumb on the foot. En lo tara olamit. He never has tara. He can never become pure. Rabbi Lazar says, al mekomo yotze, right? V'yotze. What does that mean? No, you just place it on its place. Meaning put it where the thumb used to be. Or put a thumb where it would have been. And then you're going to be tzechubah. Shimon says, even if you do it on the left hand, it's going to be yotze. So it's not only just on the right thumb or the right pinky of the toe, or whatever, not the pinky, the right big toe, right? No, even on the left, you're going to be tzechubah. Okay? So Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the right. You're going to take from the blood of the Hasham. Yachol, I would have thought to say that you could accept the blood of the Hasham b'kli sharet with the kli sharet, just like other korbanot. Tamulumar comes teach you v'natan. Maze natan. Man netina be'atzmo shel kohen. Just like the netina is going to be right on the bohen of the mitzorah and the etzvao without a utensil. So to lekicha, that's what that means. The kohen receives the blood to sprinkle on the mitzorah with his hands without a utensil. So Yachol afle mizbeach. So I would think that you do the same thing to the mizbeach. No, ki kachatat hasham hu. What does that mean? Ma chatat unakli. Just like the chatat needs a kli, a utensil, so to the hasham needs a utensil. So he comes out that he comes to teach you, right? You see, hasham mitzorah sheshne kohanim mekablim et damo. When you have an hasham mitzorah that two kohanim receive the blood, echad vayav echad bekli. So imagine you have two kohanim that are receiving the blood of the mitzorah. Right, of the sham of the mitzvah, the guilt offering of the mitzvah. You have one of them, he's going to receive it as his hand, and one of them with the utensil. The one that you receive the blood with the utensil, he's going to come to the mizbeach just like all the other types of sacrifices. But the one that kibel bayad, he's going to come to the mitzvah and he's going to put it on the big toe and the right thumb of the mitzvah with his hands. Okay, fine. Tanan, right? Tanan hatam. We learned over there in the Braita. V'kulam metamim begadim. Now we just said that all the parim and the sirim shenishchatu, right? In order, that means all the parim and the sirim that they were slaughtered in order to finish the azal. Because remember, it's spilled. Once it's spilled, right? So therefore, if the blood spilled, you have to bring another one. So you bring another one. Now you bring another animal. So it says here on all of these parim and sirim that you're going to have to do again, metamim begadim, right? They're going to be metameh the begadim, the people that are taking care of the burning of it and everything. It's going to be metameh the begadim. V'nisrafim, and they have to be burnt a beta deshen, on the beta deshen. These are the words of Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Shimon. So all these things are going to start being burnt on the beta deshen. Okay. So it says over here, right? That means even these ones are also going to be burnt on the beta deshen, because basically all we needed was just the blood. We didn't need anything else from the korban. These are the words of Rabbi Lazar and Shimon. Chachamim argue and they say, right? And metamim begadim, it's not going to be metamim begadim. Ve'en nisravim beta deshen ela acharon, only the last one, right? Which is basically the last one, which was done in order to finish off the blood of the azal. Because he finished off the kapara. I mean, since he finished off the kapara, so it's only going to be, right, in that one. Okay? So now says the Gemara, okay, ba minei Rava Rav Nachman. So ask Rava from Rav Nachman, kama sirim mishaleach? How many sirim, right, is it going to, how many sirim does the Kohen Gadol sholeach to Azazel? We already know he only sends one. So Amalei, he says, v'chiyedro mishaleach? He says, what, do you really think he's going to send an Eder Shalem? Right, the Torah only said Sir Echad. Well, why is he sending so many? Well, what are you doing exactly? So Amalos, he answered, he said, no. V'chiyedro soref? He says, what, you have to burn an entire Eder, an entire flock, right, by Beta Deshen? For sure not. So says the Gemara, Midamu, can you compare both cases? Hatam lo kativ oto. There, to do with the Serefat Asira Pnimi, this the burning of the inner Mizbeach, we're on Samech Bet Amud Aleph, 62a1. Okay, it's not written the word oto. Hacha, but over here, kativ oto, it's written l'shalach oto la'azazel. When it says the word oto, so the word oto comes to teach you to exclude that we're not going to send only one sa'id to the Azazel, not more. Meaning there's only one sa'id that we send to the Azazel, not more than one. Okay? Fine, let's just try to finish the perek. Itmar was stated, Rav Papi Nishmed de Rava, Rav Papi taught in the name of Rava. Amar, he went and he said the following, Harishon Meshaleach, the first one is the Kohen Gadol is going to send to Azazel. Rav Shimi Nishmed de Rava Amar, Ha'acharon, it's only the last one is going to be sent to Azazel. So Bishma Rav Shimi, I understand Rav Shimi in the name of Rava that he says the last one you're going to send to Azazel. Kasavar, because he holds, because he finished the kapara in him. But according to Rav Papi in the name of Rava, my kasavar, what does he hold? So Savalak Rabbi Yosef, he holds like Rabbi Yosef. Tamar, but he says mitzvah barishon. There's a mitzvah to bring the first one. The first one, that's where they have the mitzvah in order to bring it. Okay, the first one of the korbanot. Remember, here you have to bring another one because the blood spilled or whatever it is. You have to bring another sacrifice. So which one is going to be thrown in the Azazel? You're going to do the first one or the last one. So Hay Rabbi Yosef, which din of Rabbi Yosef are we talking about? So he says, Ilem Rabbi Yosef the kupot. If you're going to tell me now it's Rabbi Yosef to do with the kupot of the Trumat Alishka, the Tzram, we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yosef was talking about that if you have 3 kupot, each one had three se'im, which means each one has 3 se'im. A se'ah, right, is a measure that they used to have. Okay? So imagine right now you have 3 kupot, each one had 3 se'im. Shebaim tormim et alishka. That's where they used to come and they used to take the parnasim, used to take the shekalim in order to use it over there, to buy korbanot tzibur. Vaya katuv alehem, and it was written on them, Aleph Bet Gimel. Tanya, we learned in the right time, Rabbi Yosef, Lama, why is it written Aleph Bet Gimel? Leda izmen nitamar rishon, to know which one was first, which one is the first one, which one is the second, which one is the third one. Lavi emena rishon, she means rishon, but there's always a mitzvah to bring it from the first one. So therefore, that's why it's written Aleph Bet Gimel, to always bring from the Aleph. So says the Gemara, if you're going to try to bring me a proof from that Rabbi Yosef, that the mitzvah is always from the Rishon, just like over there we wanted to write Aleph to bring it from the Rishon, the Shekalim from the Rishon. Dilma beina ditchaze kamaita lo itchaze betraita. Maybe it's going to be taught that to do the kupot of the mitzvah to take from the first one. Why? Because when the Shekalim are in the first kupa, they became fitting in order to bring the korbanot from them. But lo itchazai betraita, but they weren't, the Shekalim in the last one weren't fitting for Hakrava. Why? Because the Shekalim, right, in the Kupa Rishona were fitting, right, immediately, right? But during that time, there was nothing yet in the third one. That's why the ones in the first Kupa were fitting, because they're already here. The ones in the third Kupa were never there. Nobody gave the Trumot yet. They didn't give it. It was an empty tzedakah box at the time. So says the Gemara, Ela Rabbi Yosef, you're right. So it cannot be the Rabbi Yosef by the kupot, but rather it had to be Rabbi Yosef by Pesach. By Pesach, why? Korban Pesach. To tell you, we learned in the Braita, Hamafrish Pischo, if somebody's going to separate a Korban Pesach, ve'avad and it got lost, then he separated another one for the Korban Pesach, and afterwards you found the first one. But you have both of them in front of you. Ezemen, she would say Yakriv, according to Chachamim, whichever one you want, you can bring. Doesn't matter which one, whichever one you want, you bring it. Rabbi Yosef says, mitzvah barishon. The mitzvah is to do it in the first one. Yeah, the mitzvah is to bring the first one, right? Why? Because the first one that you brought, they're either both fitting, doesn't matter. Mitzvah barishon. So here you see that according to Rabbi Yosef, it's always better to do the first one. So says the Gemara, but he says no. Why? He says because if you have the second one, which is better, so then you bring the second one. It all depends. If they're both the same, then yes, mitzvah barishon. But if they're not both the same, but the second one is better, you bring the second one. Hadran alach, hotziu lo. So we finish the perek on Samach Bet Amud Aleph.